Hey Haley, I watched your video and I do agree. I think you made a lot of really interesting points as you assessed the articles. I do specifically want to touch on how I agree that the lack of stability in a child's parents' relationship will really affect their ability to maintain healthy relationships in the future, romantic relationships specifically, because a lack of stability in that, if they're watching, certain issues regarding trust and faithfulness and things like that could affect could bring on a sense of fear to commitment or to allow somebody in that kind of romantic way, really intimate way, because they're who was supposed to be their role models really showed them what can go wrong. And I'm not saying that for everybody, but I will say that I think that if we're going to talk about a majority, that'll definitely affect a lot of people. And then I also thought it was interesting when you talked about how, your upbringing really made you feel whole and made you feel like a strong, independent person. And how if somebody doesn't have that, they are going to spend a lot of time in their life seeking that, because we as people, it's a natural instinct to want to be loved. And how we talked about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and we talked about how love is at the core of what we need as people to thrive and to reach our maximum potential at the top. And so I do think that if a child doesn't receive that kind of love at the very beginning and as a part of their upbringing, they're going to spend a lot of their life looking for it, because it is natural and it is part of our basic needs. Or I guess it's one level above, but essentially it's a part of the needs that we have as people to succeed. And then I also I thought it was interesting when you talked about how although your sister doesn't remember specifically some of those traumatic experiences that she had when she was a child, that it affected her as an adult. And I agree with you. I think that there's some things that are instinct. So if she had these experiences that brought on some of these instinctual responses to stress, and if I'm assuming, I don't really know, of course, I don't know her, but I would guess that situations and experiences like being locked in a closet as a child, things like that, being neglected, she got a sense of feeling powerless. And if that turns into an instinctual response to stress, feeling powerless to your stress is only going to induce high levels of anxiety. And so I do think that being an example, I'm not saying that's exactly what happened to your sister, but that being a simple example as to how I agree that some of those early experiences that are traumatic could affect you as an adult, even if you don't necessarily remember it, but your body started developing instinctual responses to stress. And so that could eventually induce things like anxiety disorders and other different ways to cope with stress that doesn't necessarily have a positive effect. So anyway, I really enjoyed your video. I thought that your assessments were really interesting, and I do agree that some of those personal experiences that you had really did bring out the kind of person that you are today, and social and thriving and things like that. And so yeah, thank you so much.